so much for tuning into Culture Fix. I am joined by Croatian singer-songwriter Marko Purišić. How was that, Marko? Was that okay?
Yeah, actually, it was.
Better known as Baby Lasagna, Marko stormed the public vote at Eurovision 2024 with his smash Rim Tim Tagi Dim and has since gone on to release his own brand of intelligent, socially conscious pop music that is undeniably catchy, such as Catch Me If You Can, and I, and Stress most recently. Marco releases his debut album Demons and Mosquitoes on the 7th of February, pretty soon, and we can't wait. So thank you so much for joining me, Marco. And yeah, I appreciate it's a busy time for you with the album coming out.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and thank you for that wonderful. I feel flattered, and you make me sound way more serious than I am. So, but yeah, it's a bit busy and hectic time since the album is coming out. We had Stress coming out. We have vinyls. We have big concerts and tours. So it's just I'm all over the place. But I'm fine. I have a help from a lot of professional people, so it's going good.
Good. It's funny because I would have thought after Eurovision you would want to have like a more relaxing time, but straight in with the album and all the excitement that comes with that.
Yeah, to be honest, I was afraid that if I take a break after Eurovision, that people are gonna forget me. They're go their own way, which they are doing partly in a sense that there are Eurovision fans who didn't stay after Eurovision, which is like normal. I later find out. But yeah, I've been busy. We've released, I don't know, one, two, three, four songs since the Eurovisions. We've been on tour already during the summer. We're going again on the tour. So I honestly had just like a month for my wedding and my honeymoon, and that was it.
Yeah. Let's jump straight back to Dora, if that's okay. And obviously, when you entered with Rim Tim Tagi Dim, what were your initial thoughts when you submitted that song? Did you kind of see it going all the way to Eurovision, or was it just a nice chance to kind of get some exposure in Croatia?
Yeah, to be honest, so I never wrote that song for Dora. I even have a screenshot of me sending that same song to my friend, and him replying, "Oh, this sounds cool. You should enter it to Dora and then go to Eurovision." I was like, "Well, it's the time for Dora now. Maybe I should try it." And then I went on and applied, and I forget it that day. And even when the songs were coming out, that's how uninterested I was. I didn't know that they came out. Like the jury published what got in and what didn't. So I found out like day or three later that I was a reserve, which was by that you can see how much faith I had in what was going to happen. And yeah, best case scenario for me was you're gonna get in and you're gonna make 20 people your fans, and that was it. That's the best that could happen. You're not gonna get first, you're not gonna get last, but somewhere in the dead middle. And I was wrong. I was very, very wrong. My prediction, my friend was right, and yeah, so things just kept on happening.
So obviously Dora was fantastic and it led to the amazing Eurovision journey that you went on. And I've been lucky enough to see you live in London and in Malmo. Um, you give so much to each performance. How do you kind of prepare yourself for that level of intensity? Because obviously I know Eurovision it's not just the three shows, it's such a big build up in terms of interviews, in terms of promotion, pre-parties. How do you prepare yourself for that kind of level of busyness?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I've never been this busy in my life, so I couldn't really prepare for it. Also, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I didn't know what's happening, like what's in front of me, what should I do, what shouldn't I do, how should I prepare. So I just kind of went with the flow and hoped for the best. I always I tried to take care of my mental health and prepare myself in a way that uh, this is something that you do now, make the best out of it. People have gone through this before. If they can do it, you can do it, and stuff like that. But to be honest, there's not really a way of preparing yourself for it, except if you are Loreen or somebody who done like Eurovision few times. So what to expect and what you should maybe do. Maybe you shouldn't do this. Maybe you can skip this and take a break. But for me, yeah, there was no way of preparing for interviews and stuff like that. And when it comes to performing, especially now when our set is like hour and something, I don't know if you saw me live, I tend to go a bit crazy on the stage, and I kept tend to keep that pace throughout the performance, and that is just gym and vocal preparation. So yeah.
Nice. Well, it's working. Um, so if you could go back to tell yourself, when you were kind of first a part of the Eurovision process and give yourself any advice, what would you kind of say now that you've been through the process? Would you give yourself any worthwhile advice?
Yeah, probably the best one would be savor the moment. Don't think in advance and just be in the moment and try to enjoy it because you're not getting this back most probably. Yeah, I tend to think, okay, after this we gotta do this, and then we gotta do this, and gotta do this, and it's never in the moment. It's always this and this and this and this. What's next? What's next? What's next? Without really enjoying or savoring the beautiful things that can and did happen in Eurovision Song Contest. So yeah, maybe just be patient and enjoy the moment. That's the thing that I would say to myself.
Nice. Well, kind of thinking of enjoying the moment, looking back on that experience, do you have one or two particular highlights that you kind of like pinch me moments that were so surreal that you kind of look back on now and think, wow, that happened?
Yeah, I think there are two moments that best like will stick with me forever. I think it's the first rehearsal on Eurovision that we had in front of the audiences. So on when we do the dance, when we do the move, I turn around away from the audience and turn to our drummer. And when I turned back, I saw the whole crowd doing this. Like, what is going on? Like, and it was just my mind exploded at that moment, and it came like a good hit of reality. Like people know the song, people like the song, people are dancing,
Mhm.
and it meant a lot to me. And I was just like stricken. I don't know what's the how do you say it, but I was struck.
Like
Uh,
overwhelmed. Yeah.
yeah, that moment. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is when we came back to Zagreb from Eurovision, and just I don't know what's the word in English, but when people gather around in the whole city on the main square, like 10,000s of people just chanting, and like the whole city, like public transportation stopped, and there was like I was the big president or something, and yeah, it was one of the best moments. It still feels like a dream. It still feels like somebody else's life, not ours.
Yeah,
So those.
incredible. Yeah, the real kind of special moments. So obviously now we have the album coming out pretty soon. So I think it's a week on Friday. So pretty soon. Um, let's think about the title of the album, Demons and Mosquitoes, because obviously two things that people don't tend to like. We all have our demons, and nobody likes a mosquito. What's the thinking behind the title?
Well, it's the name of the song in the album, and it was, I think, a year ago. I slept in one apartment, and my wife later on asked me, "How did you sleep?" And I was like, "I had like anxiety. I couldn't sleep, and on top of it, like the mosquitoes were biting me all night." And she was like, "Yeah, demons and mosquitoes." And I was like, "Well, that sounds." I took the guitar and started to sing like "Demons and Mosquitoes." I wrote a song about the struggles that you have at night, and it sounds pretty cool to me, like "Demons and Mosquitoes." So I named the album for it. So yeah, that's the story behind the the name "Demons and Mosquitoes."
And we have your wife to thank for that.
Yeah, like my wife. If she doesn't like the song, it's not on the album. So luckily, she liked Rim Tim Tagi Dim.
Good. Well, yeah, the whole world is thankful for that. Um, when was the album kind of written and produced? Was it during your kind of Eurovision experience, or kind of before that, or when were the kind of the most of the tracks made?
Yeah, so the project Baby Lasagna, it should have never been a project. So all the album and all the songs, I was writing it as a way to express myself, because before that I was writing for other people, and when you write for other people, you have like notes, like bullet points. It should sound like this lyrics, this blah blah. So I had to find a way to just have my own creative outlet. at some point I wanted to release those songs and you needed a name. And I was like, Baby Lasagna, sure, just put them on the internet, it doesn't matter. And so it was never envisioned like an album. So it was just my practice songs or my songs for, I don't know, whatever. And then Rim Tim and Eurovision happened. And I was like, okay, luckily I have an album and I produced it. But then when I saw all those people doing this, I was like, well, maybe more people will hear it than I imagined. So I sent out an album for mixing to one mixing engineer to make it a little bit better. But yeah, it was written before Eurovision, but it was produced during Eurovision. When I was in Malmo, I was like listening to what he sent me, and I was like, okay, cool, yeah, sure. So yeah, it was yeah, that's the timeline approximately.
Cool. What track are you most excited for people to hear? Maybe it's one that's not been released so far.
Yeah, for me, I think "Good Boy Lasagna" and "Hypocritical" song, which I think work the best in the audiences when we perform it live, and it still isn't out. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing people's reactions since it's a little bit provocative, but at the same time, I'm provoking the listener and myself. So that's why it's hypocritical. Yeah. So yeah, I think people will. There's still more material in the album that it's not out, and you will still hear something new. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, so am I. So some of the songs you've released so far, like IG Boy, Don't Hate Yourself, but Don't Love Yourself Too Much, they kind of, well, to me, they felt like they were a little bit about anxiety and like the pressures that other people or you feel on behalf of other people, and a little bit about the kind of the negativity of social media. How do you kind of balance the need to promote your work on social media without getting too invested and without reading the comments and kind of taking things in to kind of affect your mental state, if that makes sense?
It does. I was way better at it before. Now I suck at it. I'm absolutely a wreck these days, and I'm looking forward someone who will take over my social media because I'm just having a real tough time with it because I can't separate myself and worth of my songs and like who I am without likes, comments, and everything. So I'm struggling with it, and that's the funniest thing. Me singing about your worth is not in likes, in don't hate yourself. That's a line, and at the same time, I'm doing it. But then again, I have a song called "Hypocritical," and I'm criticizing myself and admitting to falling a victim to something that I'm singing about. So yeah, I think it's an going on and like back and forth with it. So I have time when I'm okay today, and for the last couple of weeks I'm not. But that's also okay. You have to admit like defeat, I think, and it's the way to move forward. So yeah, currently I don't have an answer for that.
As soon as the album's out, switch the phone off and chuck it.
Yeah, I wish because I got now I'm too invested, but it's at the same time that's the like the outcome of album coming out, like doing a tour and everything. So I have to constantly be on my phone. So I'm looking for help. Like, yeah.
I think your music really, as I mentioned in the introduction, it kind of taps into quite big themes and themes that a lot of your listeners will relate to. But there's still fun and it's still high energy. How do you strike the balance of talking about things that are quite serious, but presenting it in a fun, almost like baby lasagna way?
Yeah, well, since I was a little kid, I loved to watch like the shows, like some provocative shows that I don't watch anymore because they're like now too gory or too edgy for me, for example. But I liked it at the day at that time. So like Family Guy, I don't know, South Park or whatever. They're edgy and they're wrestling with the heavy subjects in a funny and humorous way. So I learned to communicate in that way, and maybe it comes just naturally to me. But yeah, that's the whole point. I'm trying to convey a message that I think it's right. It's not necessarily right, but I think it's okay. But at the same time, maybe I'm hiding behind the humor. Maybe I'm trying to package for make it to make it easier to swallow. Uh, so yeah, I think it's due to that. So it's the balance of those two things, like hiding behind the humor, but at the same time making it easier to convey the message, which is harder or provoke people to think about it. And yeah, that's it. But it comes naturally to me. It's not something that I dwell on too much.
I think the sense of fun that we spoke about was really apparent in the visuals for your Eurovision performance with like the neon animals and like the neon cats, which I became obsessed with the neon cats. They were really really cool. So I think that is something that people did kind of sort of grab onto because it had such a distinct style. Um, I would love to think more about these cats and your affinity for cats because I know obviously you published a book last year about your relationship with your one of your cats. Um, what what is the kind of the connection? What do you kind of see in cats that you relate to?
Yeah. Well, I never thought of myself as a cat person until I met my wife, and she obviously had cats. And really quickly, I fell in love with the nature of cats, like the sassiness, the independence, but at the same time, you can't stop loving him. And I became obsessed with cats. And at the moment when I was writing Rim Tim Tagi Dim, I imagined myself going away from home, and what would I do? I would go up to a cat and like, meow, cat, please meow back. Since they're not meowing back, it's the part of the charm. Like, care that you're leaving, and you care you're gonna miss them probably the most, like most of the cat. So yeah, I think there's something magical about them, something inspiring to me. I don't know what it is, but I tend to like invite them into my own creativity. And I don't know, they're just the attitude is so contagious. And I don't know, at in a second I'm angry at my cat because she's done something like that pissed me off, but in like 3 seconds I'm like, I don't know, it's so funny. I think people know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. They know what I'm talking about. It's just, I don't know, they're funny, and yeah, I would love to include them even more in my career or whatever.
Yeah. I think it's clearly something that has gone throughout all of history. But you look back at ancient Egypt and they were worshipped, and there's clearly something they have a power over us.
Yeah, I even watched like some painter painted 42 cats because his wife had 42 cats, and he named the picture "My Wife's Lovers," and he talked about feeling second to them. And yeah, I mean, there's something in them. I don't know.
Absolutely. Well, that leads us quite nicely onto your tour. So Meow Back is the name of the tour. And you're coming pretty much everywhere in Europe around about March and April. How are you preparing for that?
Yeah, well, for now, I'm looking to buy new backpacks and stuff like that. But in a like broader sense, I'm training. I'm trying to do well with my cardio since it's a show after show after show after show after show. So it's gonna really be hard. And besides that, to be honest, I don't know. I'm not doing anything except like practicing with my bands and doing cardio. I don't think there's much to do to prepare for it in a sense that I think the hardest thing will be like the traveling. It's always the hardest thing for a performer. So, like playing a show, it's the easiest part of, like, or the hardest part is to travel. And I'm kind of afraid of that, but I think again, everyone else did it. I can do it too. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
So when you tour, do you get to see much of the city, or is it very much you arrive at the hotel, you arrive at the venue, you rehearse, and then you perform, and then you go? Or do you build in time for you to actually kind of be a little bit of a tourist?
Yeah, well, it depends on organization and the venue and a lot of stuff. But I see that after like 3 or 4 days, you became so tired that you're just like, I'm gonna go to sleep in the van or in backstage or in a hotel. But again, sometimes you just so nice city that you push through your tiredness.
Yeah.
No, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean. And just go and take a look what's going on in the city. So I had both scenarios, and I don't know what's gonna happen in on our tour.
Where are you most excited to visit or perform?
Well, uh, I don't know. I think I'm most excited for the cities that are almost or already are sold out because I'm looking for the shows, like the bigger shows. But then again, like I'm looking forward to see Paris. I've never been to Paris, so probably there. I don't know, but at the same time, like UK, everything in UK sounds cool, especially like the part that I haven't still visited, like Glasgow or stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not much of a traveler, so now's the opportunity to see the world, and I think I'm gonna seize it and try to get out as much as I can.
Nice. Yeah, Glasgow audiences are pretty wild. They drink a lot and they're quite excitable, so it'll be a fun show, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Let's just wrap up with a kind of quick fire round. The first thing that pops into your head, nothing too complex, I don't think. So, favorite movie?
Favorite movie, Seven.
Nice. Your favorite Croatian word?
My favorite Croatian. uh,
Can be a
I
swear word.
no, I'm just thinking of a cat like Machka, which is I don't know. You see, it's in my brain constantly.
What was the last song that you listened to?
Uh, I don't remember, but I think it was my song because I'm writing. So yeah, my new song that's coming out in a few months.
Who is your all-time favorite singer or band?
Probably System of a Down or Rammstein. I'm not really sure, but yeah, maybe those two.
Would you choose a banger or a ballad?
Oh, a banger.
What is your biggest fear?
Snakes. Because yeah, my wife, since she's doing a lot of music videos, in 2 days she's recording a new video. Sorry if I'm interrupting with the story, but uh, yeah, there's a python now, and she called me like, "Would you want to come to the shooting?" Yeah, sure. Just call me when the python is like miles and miles away. Like, oof.
This is maybe a chance for you to conquer your fear.
No, I don't. I don't think I a
Just
snake.
not.
So I don't have to
No.
come.
Um, where is your favorite place to travel?
My favorite place to travel. Give me a second because I don't know. I don't think I have one.
Where's your favorite place in Croatia?
Home Istra. Like the best thing. I like to travel through Istra, so yeah, yeah, home Istra.
What is your worst habit?
Definitely biting my nails. I haven't cut in years, but like in years, I've been just like biting them whole like for years now.
Yeah, it's a hard one to stop. Um,
Yeah.
and who would play you in the Baby Lasagna film?
Oh, Brad Pitt, definitely
Good
since we
choice.
moved.
Yeah, I get that. Seven to the Baby Lasagna biopic. That sounds good. Um, thank you so much for your time. It's honestly been a real pleasure talking to you, and it's been great to just watch your success from Dora onwards. And good luck with the album.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. It was fun to chat.